Welcome to Real Talk, the accountability series. I'm Dr. Teresa A. Smith, Dr. TAS, and my co-host is OnJerya T. Smith. Bring our folks in over on IG. Real Talk is presented by DQ Consulting LLC, empowering individuals and businesses to grow with clarity and confidence. Today's conversation is about who's really in control. Share this live, invite someone, and grab your journal. Before we begin today, somebody watching or listening is about to realize they've been living someone else's life. Not because someone forced them to, but because somewhere along the way, they handed someone else the pen to their life by letting fear, guilt, others' opinions write the next chapter. Well, we're talking about taking the pen back.
Really, we gonna take the pen back tonight?
Yes. Hey, Johnny. Thank you, Johnny Wilson, for joining us over on IG. It's good to see you.
Hey, Johnny. I can't see you, but hello, welcome. Thank you for joining us. When you shared that this was going to be the topic of discussion, like who's really in control. My first thought was, okay, I'm in control, right? I'm the one that's in control of my life. But then as I started reflecting, I had questions. And I said, how many times have I stayed quiet? Because I didn't want conflict. How many opportunities have I talked myself out of because I was afraid I failed? How many decisions have I made where I'm trying to make everyone else comfortable while ignoring what I knew I needed? Because remember, it's not about you. It's about me. So then that's when I realized that maybe I'm really not as in control as I once upon a time thought I was.
Well, that's exactly why we're here today, because sometimes we don't lose control all at once. We surrender it one decision at a time, one action at a time. So I'm going to call this the crack check. And we're going to do a crack check today. And I want you to finish this sentence stem. I've made decisions because I was afraid of blank. So if you're watching us live and you feel comfortable, drop the blank in the comments. I've made this decision because I was afraid of blank. If you're listening on the replay, just answer it honestly to yourself. Because again, the way that we give the pen to someone else, it's a very subtle thing that happens. But we do it and we don't realize what we're doing. Hi, Love Bell Bubs over on IG. If I mispronounce it, please forgive me, but thank you for joining us over on IG. So continue to, think about that as we proceed. What decisions have I made because I was afraid of what? Okay.
Oh, that's deep. Well, I'm sure I could probably think of quite a few different scenarios. But the thing that I'm noticing the most is that, these are different stories, different people, right? Because we all have different experiences. But ultimately, what we find out is that many of us have the same fears. It's like I was at work. I know it's like I feel like I live there 24/7. But I was at work having a conversation, about different things that are going on. And, after talking to multiple people, I kind of started seeing like the similarities in the story and understanding that, oh, okay, well, you're experiencing this, I'm experiencing that, and you're experiencing that over there, that ultimately we kind of are in a line with each other, right? It's a different scenario, but the game remains the same. So, whether it's the fear of rejection, the fear of failure, the fear of, I don't want to disappoint anyone. Mm-hmm. I just want to make sure that people are happy. I just want to make you feel good, because when you feel good, I feel good. And the fear of change, like, a lot of organizations right now are going through changes. Even in your personal life, you may be going through changes, right? It's the fear of the unknown, the fear of starting over and not knowing like what that looks like, because again, you're so used to having your security blankets, Linus, that now you're having to release it and walk into this new chapter of unknown.
Well, I think you're right, OnJerya. Fear doesn't always just stop us the way like we're supposed to stop at the stop sign. And, I was out recently and I had to tell myself, you didn't really come to a full stop. And I started to pull off and I said, stop. You have to come to a full stop. You get a ticket if you have them roll and stop, I think is what they used to call it. Yeah, so sometimes it's a rolling stop that happens, and it just simply convinces you that maybe what I was considering doing, this isn't the time to do it. So you just hold yourself back and you don't do it. Hi, Marva. Thank you for joining us over on IG. Marva says hi. But yeah, it's like something, just kind of makes us wait for whatever reason.
But as you stated before, who's holding the pen? So would you elaborate on that for our lovely audience?
Well, I was taught, the pen is mightier than the sword. And it really is. Because I think about, what is it they say? Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. It was a little nursery rhyme or whatever it was that we used to say when we were kids. But we know now that sticks and stones may break your bones, but words hurt. And sometimes the impact of those words lasts a lifetime, because that's what trauma is. And so when we think about the pen writing your story, imagine your life as a book. Every decision that we make writes another page. Every conversation that we have, it influences what's being written. It's influencing our behavior. Every compromise we make, even though we thought it was okay to make this compromise, it's writing your story. Every excuse, every act of courage, because sometimes we get a sense of courage and we do the right thing, or we do what we want to do. It's not always that it's, not the right thing to do. It's just that we don't do what we want to do. Boundaries. If you're a person who is unable to really make sure that your boundaries are set and people respect them, well, when you don't do that, that's writing your story. Every yes writes your story. I keep saying no is a one word sentence. Every no writes your story. They're all writing your story, but we have to then ask ourselves, okay, well, who's holding the pen? Is it fear? Is it people pleasing? Is it your past? Is it imposter syndrome? Is it pride? Is it comfort? Is it purpose? Is it codependency? Because whoever is holding the pen is not only writing your future, they're writing your presence. They are the person that's in control. You're not.
True. I think that's the problem, is that we don't recognize it, right? We don't know that we've given someone permission to write the chapters in our lives. That think of it like you're running a marathon, right? Like you're running track, and you know how like it's a relay race, and so you have to pass the baton to the next person, and then they run so far, and then they pass the baton to the next person. Well, basically, that's what you're doing. except for you're passing the pen. You're giving your power, your voice, that control away. And the sad thing is that majority of the time you don't even realize that that's what you're doing. So therefore, people then are able to formulate their opinion about you and the perception of how people perceive you based off of their interactions with you. So it is scary because people don't realize it, but don't give someone else that permission to write the chapters in your life because you are in control, not them.
Well, you're right, because basically I think about when I was a little girl, you go on a field trip, you had to bring home the permission slip and your parents had to sign it. So yeah, we have signed off. They got the pen, but we have co-signed off that we're going to live their expectations versus our own expectations. And lots of times, if we're honest, we don't even know what our expectations are. We don't even know. You've heard me talk before about Runaway Bride with Julia Roberts and Richard Gere. And she was a runaway bride, and there's a whole story behind that. But Richard Gere is a journalist, and he asked her, "What type of eggs do you like?" She didn't know. Because whenever she was dating someone, she liked what they liked. If they like scrambled eggs, she liked scrambled eggs. If they like egg Benedict, she liked that. If they like poached eggs, that's what she liked. She didn't know what type of eggs she liked because she had co-signed her expectations, her life. She gave it to whomever she was in a relationship with. And we do the same thing. Sometimes we maybe don't do it to that extent, but we're doing the same things when we allow other people's wishes to dictate who we are going to be and how we're going to live our life. The question that I have for the audience is, who have you given permission to write your story? Just think about it. You know, who have you given that permission to? And did you even realize that's what you were doing? You know, when we begin to understand this thing of life, and we're always going to be trying to figure it out, but we then have to begin to realize that there's no teaching, there's no fixing, just honesty. Because even with all the different, we looked at characters throughout history, it was the honesty that began to make a shift in their life, even with Julia Roberts in that movie, because she was like an industrial artist, I guess you would call it. But because of what was happening with her father, she forego her dream and stayed at home. And the folks would make jokes about the fact that she was leaving these men at the altar, not even realize, because she was the beef of the town's jokes. And it was hurting her feelings. And the people didn't think anything about it because they weren't expecting her to get married. And so once she realizes what she wanted, what type of egg she liked, then she pursued her dream of becoming an artist. So again, what happens is, it was the honesty. Once she was honest with herself, then she began to shift. And the thing is, sometimes we will be dishonest with ourselves, but if it was our BFF or if it was some family person or someone else that we really love, we would not want them to live the life that we're living. But charity begins at home. So we have to make that same decision about us so that we are healthy, whole, functioning individuals, and we're not making excuses and compromising and delaying things that we want in life. Life is very short these days. So we have to be very intentional about what we're living. So I guess my thing would be, what advice then would you give them? If that person, was you, and why haven't you taken your own advice? Because we can dish it out, but it is so hard for us to do that. Is take our own advice which is in our own best interest. I thank you, Grandma of 6 Boys 21. Thank you for joining us over on IG.
Well, I think it's hard to take your own advice, right? Because in order for me to take my own advice, That means that I have to do some work. I have to evaluate me. I got to take inventory about me. And I don't want to do that. So let me just focus on you, right? Like, let me continue to encourage you. Let me continue to make you feel whole, make you feel good while I'm low key over here just dwindling away because there's no one pouring back into me. Also, it's hard. Mm. It's hard. Like, let's be real. You know, we know there's things that we need to do, but we just refuse to do it. I don't know if we think it's just going to go away through osmosis or what, but there are things that we need to do, but we just refuse to do it. Why? Again, is it the fear? Is it the stubbornness? Is it that I don't want to because I don't have to? I don't want to listen to you because I know best? No. You need to do the work. You need to take care of you. You need to make sure that before you can go pour into somebody else's cup, have you had a little talk with yourself? Have you encouraged yourself? Because sometimes you may not have those individuals to pour into you, to keep you lifted up, to keep you encouraged. You have to do it yourself. But they say, build it and they will come. Baby, you got to build you. Because otherwise, if you're just continuously pouring into other people, it is a trauma response and you are running away from the inevitable, which is the fact that you have given someone that pen to then write your narrative. And why would we want to do that?
Well, we don't. And I think that you hit it, sometimes I guess we're praying for our situation to change, but really our situation is waiting on us to be honest about what we've been avoiding. Now, I don't want you guys to answer this quickly. I just want to answer it to yourself. Take a deep breath now. Imagine your life 5 years from today. I'm going to imagine mine too. Not your dream life. The life you've headed toward if absolutely nothing changes. You're still making the same decisions, avoiding the same conversations, letting fear vote first. Fear is in control. Letting fear vote first, and you're waiting on the right time to do something. This ain't the right time, the right time. Now answer this. If your life continues exactly as it is today for the next 5 years, would you be proud of where you're headed? Because direction, not intention, determines your destination. Direction, not intention, determines your destination.
I know for me, I can't speak for nobody else, but yeah, where I'm at right now, I certainly don't want to be in this same situation 5 years from now. My thing is where you were a year ago, where you were 6 months ago, you shouldn't even want to be there, right? You should always want to continue to grow and elevate. And, we've talked about people waiting to the right time or the perfect time. Honey, it don't exist. That time is right now. Why wait? Why wait? What is it? Why put off for tomorrow what you can do today? Or however that little saying goes. Why wait? Why would you prolong the inevitable? And I think that people really need to do like a deep dive and understand it. Because basically you're saying if I'm exactly where I am at right now in 2026 and 2031, do I still want to be there? Do I still want to be in the same? Do I still want to be making the same amount of money? No. Do I still want to be? Well, I can drive the same car because I don't care about that. So that's we cool there. But Do I still want to have the same responsibilities at work? No. Do I want to get to a point where I've evolved? Yes. Do I want to be focused more on me? Yes. Do I want to continue to grow? Yes. Do I want to continue to elevate? Yes. So choosing to remain stuck because of the fear of the unknown or the fear of fear of failure is a no-no, right? Because most of us, we spend more time planning our next vacation than we do thinking about, our daily choices that we're taking. So why would you want to stay in a stagnant place when you don't have to?
Good point, because hope doesn't change directions, decisions do. Marva said that was a powerful question. She said that today is the day of salvation. Don't wait. And we can't wait because tomorrow is not promised. Now, if you're watching, I want you guys who are watching live to type one word. What's the one thing you know has to change? If you're listening later, just write that one word down for yourself and don't ignore it. What's the one thing you know has to change? For some people, it may be procrastination. And if you're a procrastinator, that can impact all aspects of your life, relationships, work, your health, your well-being, your relationship with other people, because you procrastinate. We're gonna do this, and then they ready to do it, and then you don't show up, or you show up too late. But that one word that that's the thing that you have to change. I want to say this, guys. Fear is a terrible author. It writes stories filled with regret. Purpose writes stories filled with growth. And your life is about growth because we're living beings and we're growing every day. So, fear is a terrible author. It writes stories filled with regret. Purpose writes stories filled with growth. Now, here's the good news. We don't have to erase yesterday. We don't have to erase it. You just have to simply decide that who's going to write tomorrow. We don't have to go back and do a strike through. Who's going to write tomorrow? You can rewrite your story. Okay. And whoever's writing tomorrow, that's the purpose the person that has control. So remember, purpose writes stories filled with growth. So you just give the pen to purpose tomorrow, and not fear. And then we see how things begin to evolve from there.
Yes, yes, yes. I love how you grab your eraser because I got one for you because I come with it's amazing the stuff that's on my desk. Anyway, you know what this is right here?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. For those that are viewing this, what is this?
I cannot tell you the proper name for it, but it is the instrument that you will use for breathing treatments. That's what my niece probably uses it for. But when you've had surgery and when they want to make sure that your lungs stay clear, they will give you this apparatus to blow in because they want you to make the ball or the meter, you want it to rise to the top. And once you can make it rise, then they know that your lungs are clear.
So we don't breathe. We're not going to breathe life into the day. Yesterday has came and gone. So she said no strike through. I'm telling you, don't breathe into it. Okay? Because we can't change what happened yesterday. We can't even change what happened 10 years ago. The only thing that we can change is the present and the future. So yesterday I gave you my pen because today I realized it. I didn't know better, but it's I didn't know any better. They say when you know better, you do better. Okay. Well, now you know. The more you know, the more you grow. So don't breathe life into something that you no longer can change. Focus on today, focus on tomorrow. because that's the freedom, right? That's the excitement, the joy of knowing that you have control over you, not someone else, you. And you have the opportunity to write your story because no matter what happened yesterday, today, you can take that pen back and you can write your own story based off of your experiences and not what someone else says of how you should live it.
And thank you, OnJerya. Marva said that it's the incentive spirometer. I think I'm
Yeah,
saying it correctly.
yeah,
But incentive, because I don't know what they be saying to me when they bring it in to me, but incentive spirometer. So incentive, I'm thinking that when it's an incentive, it's inviting.
yeah.
So, it's an invitation. And that's the way we need to look at life, as being something that is an incentive. And transformation can only begin the moment you stop asking, what if I fail? If I look at it as an incentive, what if I finally become who I was created to be? Now, that's an incentive. And that's when you take the pen or the pencil, and you start writing from purpose. I like that incentive spirometer. A spirometer. I probably said it wrong. Spirometer. Now let's see if we can finish this sentence. Today I'm taking the pen back from fear, people pleasing, past shame, trauma, my past as a whole, comfort, and perfectionism. Type A personality. We're taking the pen back from all of that. Okay.
And that is why I love, love, love Cracks in the Empire because I have discovered so many cracks that I didn't even know existed in my life. And as a result, it has helped me kind of bridge those gaps because there were red flags. There were signs that were written all over the wall. Teresa loves when I say, I love to sit back and see what color the wall gonna be. Well, with the cracks in the empire, we're not gonna sit back and see what color the wall gonna be because of the fact that we're writing our story. We're going to know. So, again, as we've been saying, people are gonna think, of course, the story is about Desmond, but we're all Desmond. And until you realize that in Cracks in the Empire that you're reading about yourself, unfortunately, you're still going to be stuck on that merry-go-round. You're going to be just like that little GIF where the girl done passed out and the merry-go-round is still spinning because she's so tired. That's how you're going to be. But we don't want to be that because who wants to be stuck doing the same thing over and over again and be in the same position 5 years, 10 years, even 90 days from now? I know I don't.
No. And you said something. I was doing a quick search. Who is it that sings the song "Written All Over"? It's written all over my face. You don't have to say a word. You know what I'm talking about? I don't. It's not the Rude Boys, but that's what I just pulled up. But I don't know if that's it. But it's really written all over our face. Because you often talk, because you do talk about you're gonna sit back and see what color the wall's gonna be. Well, it's written all over our face. We don't realize it. And I mean that literally, but I mean it not literal, because our actions, the way we move, the way we speak, it's always there. We are just not cognizant of it because we're just moving through life. We don't understand what's happening. And I like the fact that you understand that Desmond is us. It's not this character. We are Desmond. It's not art imitating life. It's life imitating art, because he is a composition, a compilation of all of us and all the things that we as human beings experience. As I say all the time, I just think sometimes it's easier for me to ouch for somebody else versus experiencing my own ouch, because I got to be able to pick up my pen and write from purpose rather than fear. And fear is real. Fear is real. And for some people, it just may be the fear of the unknown. And that can be quite overwhelming when you just don't know. Because that means then, remember, who's in control? When you have fear, you're not in control. Something else is controlling it. So here's your challenge this week. Before you make any important decisions, guys, okay? I want you to pause. Ooh, I tell you, them pauses can get you. I want you to pause. And then ask yourself, who's making this decision? Is it fear? Is it my pride? Is it people? Is it comfort? Or is it the purpose? Then whatever your answer is, choose differently. I've been saying to someone for, I think, a whole year that I want them to do a 360, because whatever enters their mind, it takes them down a not a pleasant path. And I'm like, if you could just do a 360 and look at it exactly the opposite of what you think initially, that may actually be what it is, or some variation of it. But they always see it one way. And so what they don't realize is, because they see it one way, they're writing their story that way. But I will also say this. Sometimes codependency does come into play, and people will write their story a certain way. Then we have to decide how we are going to interface with their story, because how we interface with their story determines our story. And sometimes that may mean we have to let go of some fear. We may have to understand that some relationships are going to change because you've decided to choose differently. But awareness without action, it doesn't change anything. It means you keep singing the same song day after day, day after day. And I'm not Babyface. Now, Babyface can sing me the same song every day and I'll be okay. But, I'm not Babyface, so I'm going to need to sing a different song, because that song not going to work for me. So choosing differently.
Well, as we all know, transformation, unfortunately, it doesn't happen just because you watch the show. Transformation begins when you choose differently after the show ends. If you have your journal, if you have your iPad, your phone, whatever device is that you use to take notes, right? To journal down, add this thought, add those questions. And then generally, like, for real, think about it, right? Like, why, like, what's stopping you from being the best version of you? What is holding you back? What is controlling you? What have you allowed to control you? And then once you answer those questions, now then come up with an action plan of, okay, now that I recognize A, B, C, D, E, how am I going to change? And what does that change look like? And understand that because you're in the process of transforming, it's not going to be easy. It's certainly going to be hard. And in the words of Aaliyah, at first you don't succeed, dust yourself off and try again. Because what worked today, it may not work tomorrow. It may not even work 3 months from now. Mm-hmm. Because again, you're constantly transforming. You're constantly evolving as a person. So the things that you use to help you to get to point A, you may not need those things anymore, Linus. You may need that blanket right now. But 6 months from now, you might decide, I no longer need that blanket to comfort me. Now I have came up with other tools to provide that comfort that I need, to soothe me, to help get me to the finish line.
Well, I think that you couldn't have said it any better, OnJerya. And to the audience, if today's conversation challenged you, don't ignore it. Share this, share the live, with your friends. Come back and listen to it again. You'll be amazed at information that you miss. The first time you'll focus on different things because again, this is not a marathon. This takes time because we're learning that we are good enough. We are enough to hold our own pen and write our own story. Because when you write your story, we're talking about taking control of your life. And you are enough to do that. So give yourself grace, give yourself the time to do it. Revisit the lives and all of the shows in this series. And if you're ready to go deeper, I invite you to pre-order my upcoming book, Cracks in the Empire, What You Refuse to Face Can Break You, because today's conversation is only the beginning. I want to say thank you to Bernhardt Minnie for joining us over on IG. Today's conversation is only the beginning. Transformation takes time. It doesn't happen overnight, but we can start chipping away at that iceberg bit by bit. And remember, the crack was never the problem. What was the problem, OnJerya?
The problem was you, because you chose to remain the same.
Because I chose to ignore it. And for tonight's episode, give my pen, my pencil to somebody else instead of taking control of it myself. Next week, we're having what will maybe the most personal conversation of this entire series. So let me ask you something. What has staying the same already cost you? What has not picking up your pen or your pencil and deciding that you're going to write your story instead of giving it to somebody else already cost you? For some people, it may have cost them time. It may have cost them opportunities as far as work or in the community, organizations. It may have cost them love, romantic love. It may have cost them familial love. What has it cost you? It may have cost them their health. It may have cost them physical and mental health. What has it cost you because you decided that you were just going to stay where you were? Not what it might cost you. What has it already cost you? And I want to say thank you to Sinrithek. I'm probably mispronouncing, but thank you so much for joining us over on IG. Jay, thank you. You always bring it, and I love sitting down and unpacking the work with you. And I just appreciate your being with me here on this webinar. I just thank you so very much for your time that you put into it. And I'm doing this, guys, because, this is a part of our story. We're so busy sometimes trying to do all this different stuff that we forget to stop and smell the roses. And that is so important. And I want to thank Sabrina, I'm probably mispronouncing 12, for joining us. Guys, thank you everyone for joining us. And you know the drill. Before you go trying to take care of someone else, please make sure you take care of yourself first. And we'll see you next Tuesday for Real Talk, Cracks in the Empire. Make sure you check out my book. It's available now for pre-order. I love to hear your feedback on the book once it's released. And guys, who knows what we'll be doing once we release that book. It's a surprise. So make sure you stay tuned to us. And again, before you go try and take care of someone else, make sure you take care of yourself first. Bye now.
Bye.